Alright, I'm going to do another video here on this heat treated piece of stone with some new aluminum tools that I made. Alright, and the main thing is I've got some 1.5" diameter aluminum bar, and I think this was 10 inches long. I cut off a 4-inch piece for a like a bopper, and a 6-inch piece for a mallet, and I guess this can be a bopper as well. I could strike with this. This is the one I mainly have been using as a bopper. I don't normally use these, or I don't normally use boppers, but I'm going to start using that. I put a fast, I guess chamfer is what you call this, along the tops, or along the edges of this bar after I cut it. I think that's 45 degrees, just to give me a good area to strike with. But eventually I'll round these off, or they'll become rounded through use wear. I've only made two different pieces, or use this on 2 different bifaces, and it's already pretty banged up. I was using it on something tough like rhyolite, some tough chert, but I haven't weighed these or compared these to antler. They feel slightly heavier than antler, but it's not as heavy as copper or steel, of course. It feels pretty good. But I have been using this as a mallet, and I'm pretty happy with this. Normally the mallet I've been using is this plastic piece. I think that's 1 5/8 inches. Very lightweight compared to this. And again, I haven't weighed it, but it feels like about 2 pounds. This can deliver a tremendous amount of power to use this as a mallet. A lot of you guys are way ahead of me and are using copper or stone as a mallet on your indirect percussion. And I apologize if this is, old hat, but I'm just catching up. I made different diameters. Let me just break them all out instead of picking through these. I made a bunch of new flakers. I think this is 1 1/4 inch, 1 3/8, and 1 5/8. But I don't know. I'll do a more precise measurement, and maybe I'll put it in the comments. I'll put it in the description or something. Anyway, 3 different sizes. I've been using this middle size mostly with the heavy mallet. And I've also been practicing with pressure. I've got this pressure flaker made up. I sharpened it. It was more like this, but I put a little bit of a point on that. Kind of a 4-sided point, and it works pretty well. Again, I normally don't use pressure flakers, but I'm getting used to it. I'm going to make another longer handle. I do have an Ishii stick type on this plastic. It's got one side for notching. This is an ice pick, very, very strong steel. I like to use that for notching. I can really get in there and power flakes off normally stalled areas with this type of bit, a very, very strong bit. And I can file it to be very, very narrow and sharp. And I can bite into the edge. With such strong steel, it tends to slip on the stone. But if I make it very narrow, very thin, it actually can bite into the edge of the stone and peel off a flake. Or I can just use the benefit of the hard steel and the kind of like a chisel edge, and then pop the flakes off aggressively, instead of trying to bite into the edge and then move and then waiting for the flake to come off. I can aggressively remove flakes in the notch with this So either way, if I file it really thin, this is not really thin right now, but I can get it real thin, and it will, even though it's hard, it will bite into the edge. You see, I kind of wore it down a little bit. It will bite into the edge, and you can peel off flakes. Okay, so that's that. And this end I can use as an ishi stick style pressure flaker like this. But you know, it's been years. I don't have much practice with it anymore. I used to do that all the time, and then do this too. You know, let's see. I used to get, you know, do like everybody else. You know, sharpen this to more of a point. Right now it's rounded. This is what I like to use for indirect percussion, the rounded. So most guys sharpen their ishi stick points like this. Okay. And then brace it up against the belly or somewhere, depending on how long this thing is. And then clamp the legs together at the same time as pushing downward and inward. It seems like a lot of effort for just small flakes, relatively small. When I can, you know, I can do a series of those type of flakes within a fraction of the time it takes me to do this by pressure. I mean, it takes a long time for me to pressure flake an edge with an ishi stick. I mean, it dries beautifully long, narrow flakes. And it's very precise, and you know, you can shape the edge and do all kinds of neat stuff with an ishi stick. I just like the speed of the indirect percussion. Okay, so let me just demonstrate this with the heavy mallet, and then I'll move on to the next video. The beauty of this is a heavy mallet actually stays in contact longer with the flaker. With a more lightweight mallet, it's kind of a snappy, bouncy type of hit. With this one, it really does power downward and stay in contact with the stone. And I'm noticing, especially with rhyolite, that I've been trying to tame, the added stability and momentum, I guess, helps a lot. And if I back it up way back here, you know, I was striking very hard this morning. I loosened this bit quite a bit, and I damaged my glove. I think I'm gonna have to get some new gloves. If you can pull this bit out with your hands, it's already too loose. If you make one of these and you can twist the bit, I don't know if you can see it. I can twist this bit with my fingers. It's already too loose. Yeah, see? And I've only done 2 bifaces. And it's already loose. So my only option is to either get a bigger size bit and re-drill the hole, or just stop using that end and begin with a new end. Because when it's loose, even a slight bit of looseness can mess up your technique, believe it or not. And I don't have set screws in here, I just have it bottomed out. Because with the amount of force I'm using with this particular mallet, it would strip that, well, not strip, but it would wear a groove very fast in the bit, where the bit is making contact with the set screw, and it's just going to slide around. So I bottom it out, and if it gets too short, you know, through sharpening and maintenance. I pull it out, put a smaller diameter piece of rod down in there, a little short section, and then put this back in, and it sticks out. However far that short section is down in there. Okay. But like I said, this bit's pretty much had it. This hole, actually, the bit's fine. I can use that aluminum somewhere else, but the hole has pretty much had it. I can maneuver this with my fingers. So anyway, it's good enough for something really easy. I think this is Keokuk or something. Extremely easy to nap, because I'm not worried about losing power. And these flakes, even though the heavier mallet is slower, it still drives flakes extremely fast and extremely strong. It'll just rip right into your skin. I don't know. You're gonna move that lamp. Okay, there you go. Move that lamp a little bit so I can get a better angle on this. Actually, I can't tell if that's Keokuk or Tecovas. I don't know, maybe it's Burlington. I don't even know. Anyway, it's extremely easy to nap, so let's put it that way. Maybe I should get a piece of rhyolite. It's super easy to remove flakes. This really does a lot of the work. If you allow the heaviness of it to do the work, it just powers through. I don't know if I have. I do have another biface I did earlier. I gotta get the rhyolite out. I'll get the rhyolite out and do another video. I just wanted to demonstrate this. I know it's been a while since I've posted videos. I want to try to get more than one out tonight. You can also hear a distinctive crack with the metal or the aluminum mallet, and I can also hear the bit rattle around in there a little bit. Anyway, I think I'm liking this heavy mallet for these larger pieces. I was even doing a smaller piece with the heavier mallet, and it works very, very well on tough raw stone. I don't really like the heavy mallet with the small heat-treated arrowheads. With the small arrowheads that have that are made of really tough material, it works well. I'm getting an awful lot of glare. I don't know if you guys can see that. Anyway, It's not doing much good. I got the holes right where I'm going to cut myself anyway. Alright, let's see. And this is still lightweight enough I can do a fast strike, so I'm happy. Most of my flint knapping is fast strikes. I mean, I could be bracing this and doing a slower, I can slow down, and that does help maintain contact and drive, you know, longer flakes in theory. I just get, when I get frustrated, I tend to accelerate and add more force to my strikes. I mean, that's a natural reaction, I guess. I don't like to do the opposite, where if I'm not getting the flakes I want, to slow down and strike slower with more precision. Because you gotta, for me, it's thinking too much. You know, the natural reaction is when you're frustrated to add more force and do it faster. Skip a lot of the details and just kind of haphazardly go at it to try to overcome whatever you're trying to overcome at the time. And when you're using a fast technique, there's a lot less thinking involved. I don't know if that makes sense. One of these flakes dived in. That's one of the dangers of the heat-treated stuff that flakes so easily, is you'll get diving flakes. It's still convex. If it starts to get, you know, what I call furrowed, if it dives in, you get like a V-shaped in the middle. Then you're sometimes you'll run into trouble. But this is not too bad. I think I'll be able to get that out. But anyway, it's common in real artifacts to see those incomplete terminations. It's not a feather termination. It's kind of diving in. I don't know how far it dived in. It should be fine. Golly, I'm getting a lot of glare. And the step terminations are the result of trying to take too shallow of a flake. Golly. I don't know. I can't see anything. I guess let's see. I can't move that lamp right now. Anyway, let me try to finish this out, the basic thinning of this, and then I'll be done with the video. It takes a little bit of getting used to with the heavier mallet. These platforms need to be very strong. It kind of adds time, but that's okay. Doesn't add too much time. A lot of aluminum got deposited there, which is kind of cool because, I mean, if you're using antler, it does the same thing. And it's cool because when I make the transition between aluminum and antler, it's not as drastic as copper and antler. Aluminum kind of acts similar, or more similar, because it is so soft. Probably shouldn't use that, but it's so much easier. So much easier to use a artificial abrader. I don't know if you can see how hard I hit that, but I hit that pretty hard. And it got rid of the little diving area, except for just a little bit. Well, no, it cleared that out. This was the last flake going this way. Kind of cleared out that area where it had dived in. Not a complete flake. See, I try to take it really shallow, and then when it reaches a tough spot, it tends to have some chatter and then stepping. So the solution is to build a stronger edge and make sure you're convex. Make sure you've got convexity leading up to that, and then try to clear it out. Another nice amount of aluminum deposited there. I really should file this. Oh well. I'm losing some energy because this is very cratered. So when it's extremely cratered and not smooth, you lose energy because it has to, you know, it's sitting on those little bumps, and it's not making firm contact. You're just kind of, those little bumps are sticking out, and they're just kind of like legs on your platform, and the main mass is behind. Those legs have to compress down, and the main mass make contact before it removes the flake. And sometimes those little legs can remove or start crushing the edge beforehand, and then when that main mass hits, it just smashes in, makes a lot of crushing. But this one here, this flake I just took was pretty good. It came down and it hit that wall of steps, and it had just enough power to kick a little bit more off the end. Anyway, that end is starting to come out. If you hit this hard enough, these bits on the other side will start coming out. Anyway, this is 1.5 inches. I wrote down the specs on the aluminum. Let's see, where did I put those? Anyway, I'll get out the specs and I'll tell you what they are. And I'm probably not supposed to be having this aluminum on my hands, so maybe I'll wrap this with tape. But in my excitement, I'm just going to use it. I was really happy earlier because I made a biface out of something that was extremely hard. made a few bifaces. This was pretty hard material, root beer type. This wasn't too bad. It's heat treated. It's softer. Let's see. Here it is. This stuff was really weird. It's heat treated, but it hadn't really gotten I don't know. It hadn't gotten really glass-like, except in this area up here where you can see it's a little bit darker. This other stuff is really finicky and it's very steppy. Very consistent though. There's no, you know, concrete in there, but it's just very steppy and very finicky. The platforms have to be perfect. And normally with the small, or not small, with a lightweight billet on material like this, it's kind of hard to flake. I would have to smack these flakers extremely hard, but with this heavier mallet, I don't need to make an effort to hit as hard, if that makes sense. Anyway, that was giving me some trouble. You can kind of see there is a lot of steps in that one. Let's see, what else did I do? Okay, sorry about that. I made what they call a Kerrville biface with the new mallet. Actually, in the beginning of the video, did I say I made like 3 bifaces? I guess this is more. Let's see. Yeah, I made these earlier with the with the bit that's getting loose. Now these I made before then with another tool that has since been retired. And these are even harder. These are like rhyolite. Now these are raw pieces from New Mexico. I did heat treat these, and they do respond to heat treating, but I can only go up to 450, and I went up to 450 with these, and they still are like concrete. But they are a little bit easier, slightly easier. And I did this with the heavy mallet, and it worked out pretty well. Anyway, okay, I'll wrap it up here. There's that face. The other one still's got some of the original surface, but this face is pretty flat. Normally what I would do is just clean up the edges a little bit, turn them, and then start sending flakes off the other side. Okay. That's it.